Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something you might have seen in the news lately. AI researchers winning Nobel Prizes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you sent us some really interesting articles about this, especially excerpts from one called AI ga Nobel Showahanka, which translates to, is it strange for AI to win the Nobel Prize? And the more I look at this, the more I realize there's a real puzzle here.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about it this way. We usually think of AI as like computer science, right?
Right, yeah.
But these scientists are winning Nobel Prizes in physics and chemistry.
It's interesting, isn't it?
What's going on with that?
It really highlights how these different fields are starting to intersect. You know, those articles you sent, they point to the fact that AI is becoming a bigger and bigger part of scientific discoveries these days. But it begs the question, do we need to rethink the Nobel Prize categories themselves, you know, to kind of catch up with this new reality we're in?
It's like the rules of the game are changing. And we need a whole new rule book, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
The article specifically talks about John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton winning the Nobel Prize in physics for their work on neural networks. For those of us who aren't AI experts, can you break down what neural networks are and why their work was such a big deal?
Sure. So think of neural networks as computer systems that are kind of like modeled after the human brain. They're designed to learn and adapt in a way that's similar to how our own brains work. What Hopfield and Hinton did was really groundbreaking because they laid the groundwork for the kind of AI we see everywhere today, like ChatGPT, AI image generators, even those algorithms that recommend stuff you might want to buy online. It's like they figured out the basic building blocks.
Okay, so they discovered the recipe, and now we've got all these chefs cooking up amazing AI dishes.
Exactly.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. The article mentions that some people think it's a little strange that AI research won a physics prize. And they even compare it to the 2021 Nobel Prize in Physics, which was for climate change modeling. Can you help me understand this? Why are people drawing a line between those two?
That's a really good question. In 2021, the research that won was all about a physical phenomenon, climate change, right? Computers were just a tool used in that research. But this time, the research is about the tool itself. It's about AI and neural networks. And that's where things get a little fuzzy because it starts to blur the lines between what we've traditionally called computer science and what we think of as physics.
So in one case,
Yeah.
it's like using a microscope to study a new species of bacteria. And in the other case, it's like putting the microscope itself under the microscope.
Yes.
It's like the tool has become the actual subject.
Exactly. And that's leading to some really interesting discussions about how we even define and categorize scientific breakthroughs in this age of AI where it's becoming so dominant.
It's almost like we need a whole new language to talk about this
Yeah.
stuff. The article quotes Hinton as saying that if there were a Nobel Prize for computer science, their work would fit perfectly there. What do you think? Is he right?
Well, it's a bold statement. You have to remember, the Nobel Prizes have this long history, going back over 100 years. They represent a very specific view of what we consider to be scientific achievement. To add a whole new category is a huge deal. It really reflects how quickly technology is, changing our understanding of the world, and it means we have to adapt.
So on one hand, we have this mind-blowing progress in AI, but on the other hand, we have these age-old traditions about what it takes to win a Nobel Prize. It's like we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Exactly. And that tension is what makes this whole conversation so interesting. It forces us to ask, how do we even recognize groundbreaking work when the lines between scientific fields are becoming increasingly blurred?
Okay, but what about this other case the article mentions? Demis Hassabis winning the Nobel Prize in chemistry for his work on AlphaFold. Now, that's AI that predicts protein structure.
Right.
That seems a little more straight.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'd say so. This example is closer to the climate modeling one. The focus here is on a chemistry problem, understanding how proteins are structured. AlphaFold just provides a really powerful new solution, but it does show how AI is becoming this essential tool across all kinds of scientific fields.
So even if it fits a bit more neatly into existing Nobel Prize categories, it still shows how big of an impact AI is having on research in general.
Absolutely. It also raises an interesting point. If AI is becoming this crucial tool in chemistry, physics, and beyond, are we maybe overlooking the role of the computer scientists who are actually making these breakthroughs happen?
You're right. It's like we're celebrating the delicious cake, but forgetting about the baker.
Yeah.
We're focused on the results, but not the process that got us there. Which brings us right back to Hinton's idea of a Nobel Prize for computer science. If AI is really changing how we do science, maybe we do need a way to recognize those contributions directly.
I think it's definitely worth considering.
Now, this is where the article takes a really unexpected turn. It asks ChatGPT about the possibility of a new Nobel Prize category.
Wow.
What did this AI have to say about that?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. ChatGPT actually suggested that a new Nobel Prize category might be worth thinking about, but only if AI starts having, like, major impacts on society and ethics, not just on the science itself.
So it's not just about AI solving equations in
no.
some lab somewhere. It's about AI affecting things like healthcare,
Right.
economics, even how we govern ourselves.
Mm.
And if those effects are big enough, then maybe a new Nobel Prize category wouldn't be such a crazy idea.
Yeah, it really speaks to the
Yeah.
wider ripple effects of AI.
Which are becoming harder and harder to ignore.
Right.
Okay.
The article points out that they've only added one new category since the prizes first started, way back in 1901. And that was Nobel Prize in Economics, which wasn't even part of Alfred Nobel's original vision. That's right. It tells you a lot about how much they value tradition and want to protect the reputation of the Nobel Prize. It's such a prestigious award. With this long history, any changes to how it works are going to face a lot of scrutiny.
So even if more people are recognizing how important computer science is, it doesn't mean we're going to see a new category anytime soon.
Exactly. It's not a simple issue. The Nobel Foundation will need to really carefully consider all the implications of making such a big change.
It's almost like this whole debate about a new Nobel Prize for computer science reflects the larger conversation about AI's role in society. You know, we're trying to figure out how to celebrate its achievements while also recognizing the potential risks and challenges.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's not just about science. It's about society and values. Ultimately, it's about
the future of humanity. So the next time you see a headline about some amazing new AI development, don't just be impressed by the technology itself. Take a minute to think about the bigger picture. How might this affect our lives? What are the ethical considerations? How do we make sure AI is used for good?
Those are the big questions we need to keep asking ourselves. And they're only going to become more important as AI continues to evolve at this rapid pace.
It feels like we've stumbled onto something much bigger than just a couple of Nobel Prizes. This whole discussion about AI winning in physics and chemistry has opened up this whole can of worms about how we even define scientific progress in the age of AI.
I think you're right. You know that article we've been talking about, AI at Nobel Show Wahanka? It doesn't just present the facts. It lays out all these different perspectives on AI and the Nobel Prize, and it almost challenges the reader to grapple with them.
It's like, here are the pieces of the puzzle. Now you try to put it together.
That's a good way to put it. It's encouraging, critical thinking, and it invites you to really engage with this complex debate.
So for our listener, as you continue to learn about AI and how it's shaping the world, don't just passively absorb information. Question everything.
Yes.
Challenge assumptions. And most importantly, form your own informed opinions.
Exactly. Don't just accept the status quo. Think outside the box. Imagine new possibilities. And don't be afraid to. Shake things up.
Remember, AI itself is all about pushing boundaries and venturing into uncharted territory.
It's true.
What a journey this has been. We started with a seemingly simple question. Is it strange for AI to win the Nobel Prize? And look where we ended up. We explored groundbreaking AI research. We debated the boundaries of scientific disciplines. And we even touched upon some pretty deep philosophical questions about the role of AI in humanity.
It's been a fascinating conversation, and I hope our listeners are leaving with a sense of wonder, a little bit of excitement, and maybe even a healthy dose of skepticism about the future.
Because one thing's for sure, this isn't the end. This is just the beginning. AI is evolving so rapidly, and the questions and challenges we face are only going to become more complex and more important.
Absolutely.
So to our listener, keep your eyes open, stay curious, and never stop asking questions. The future of AI is being shaped right now. And your voice matters.
It really does.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of AI and the Nobel Prize. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.